All right, guys, thank you for joining me this morning. Last night, when I got off the live stream, I completely forgot that I had a midweek report to do. Not that I had one to do, but I wanted to do one. So I didn't announce it last night because it completely slipped my mind. Anyway, hopefully those will catch up, hopefully those won't. But this morning, we're going to talk about a couple of things that are going on in the city. And I told you guys about the migrant crime wave, the influx of migrants here in the city. It's gotten really bad, and we're going to talk about something that happened. I think it was last night on Randall's Island. All right, Get Rhymes, thank you for the 5x5. Firehorse, By the Book. Henry, Comet Moon, thank you for the 5x5. Carnival Ultimate Lifting. All right, guy, take it easy. All right, guys. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Rick, let me know how the surgery turns out when you're done. I'll text or call. I'll actually answer my phone. I know I've been busy. A lot of people have been calling, man. I've just been too busy with picking up my phone, dealing with shit at work, dealing with shit at home. So it's an issue. But either way, man, just give me a call when the surgery's done. So first coffee. Firefly Farm, sorry to hear that. I'm surprised you're even on here, but sorry for your loss. So let's jump right into tonight's, or oh my God, this morning's subjects. So 7.2 million illegals entered the U.S. under the Biden administration, an amount greater than the population of 36 states. 36 states. Now, keep in mind, guys, a lot of America is underpopulated, right? So when people think America is overpopulated, it really isn't. It's that more people are, we're more condensed by the coast side, whether it's the west or the east coast. The coast is highly populated. Middle America isn't. There are a lot of states, including Alaska, that don't have a lot of people or have a high population. So, this is an article from the Post. Nearly 7.3 million migrants have illegally crossed the southwest border under President Biden's watch, a number greater than the population of 36 individual states. That figure come across from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which has already reported 961,000 border encounters in the current fiscal year, which runs from October through September. So from October 2023 to September 2024. And that's every year. Each agency has a different fiscal year. If the current pace of illegal immigration does not slow down, fiscal year 2024 will break last year's record of 2.4 million southwest border encounters, a number that by itself exceeds the population of New Mexico, a border state. The total number of southwest land border encounters since Biden assumed office in 2021 is 7.2 million. The CBP data shows that is a larger than population of 36 states, including Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. That is a lot. So the 7.2 million people beat out all of those states combined. Compared to the largest, I don't know if it's combined, it's individual states. Compared to the largest U.S. state, 7.3 million number is about 18.7% of California's population of 39 million, 23.9% of the state of Texas, and 31 and its 31 million residents in Texas, and 32.3% of the population of Florida, and its Florida population, and 37% of New York. Jesus. It's more than half the size of Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Ohio. Were the numbers of illegal migrants who entered the United States under President Biden gathered together to found a city, it would be the second largest city in America after New York. And the total does not include the estimate additional 1.8 million known gotaways. I never heard that term before. Gotaways who evade law enforcement. Now, I didn't know that was a term, but that's what I was talking about. That when you look at the border as a whole, there are spots of the border that we're focused on, right? So we're looking at, I don't know, New Mexico, Texas border, and focused on it. Meanwhile, there are other parts of the border where people are not focused on, and I guess they call that the gotaways. Sounds stupid. Anyway, those are those are people who evade law enforcement, which would make it bigger than New York. Taken together, nearly 10 million migrants have crossed into the U.S. illegally during the Biden administration, a record Biden critics assert could only be achieved by intentionally refusing to enforce the law. Now, we've all said this. We'll say it a million times over and over again. This is being intentionally done. I know that a lot of us, including myself, at some point in time, you go, this can't be real. And why is this being done? Though we all know why it's being done, the brain itself goes back to, why is this happening? This can't be. So we have a hard time dealing with what's going on with this border. This unprecedented surge in illegal immigration isn't an accident. It is the result of deliberate policy choices by the Biden administration. This is Eric something or another, Director of Research for Numbers of USA. Ira Melham, the spokesman for the Federation of America Immigration Reform, said migrants have learned in the last 3 years that they won't face deportation for entering the country illegally. Because, guys, their cousins get here, and their cousin Juan is like, guys, the border's open. Just come. If you pay X amount of money, that's a coyote to get you here. Once you're here, no one's going to send you back. Now, if Trump goes into office or gets into office, that could change a lot of shit. And he knows he's not going to get all of them back, but he's going to get a large majority of people back over the border. That is including coming to New York City. And I can guarantee you guys, Eric Adams, if Trump goes into office, Eric Adams is going to fucking rub Trump's dick all over his face. Because he's going to be like, this guy's going to get these people out of here. So now that they're being housed at these detention centers, and I have to say this, the detention centers, the migrant centers, are what preppers avoid. Because we know, guys, if we get corralled into one of these places, we are easily found. We're easily located, and we can easily be shipped back to wherever they want to ship us to, or easily put us in a concentration camp or migrant camp, or whatever it is. That's why preppers avoid it. Now, these people are all in one spot. Most of them are all in one spot. And if Trump gets in office, guess what? He could wrangle up all of these people because they're in these migrant camps all over the country, and he could ship the majority of them back over. And those who get arrested moving forward are also going to get shipped back over. But we have to make it painful for them to come here. That is the problem. These people know, guys, that they can walk through that open door and nothing's going to happen. There's no repercussions for these people coming here. And they'll continue to do so. So you have to make it worth this while. That's why the moat with the alligators in it was a great idea. Though I know it'll never happen, and it is outlandish. It is a great idea. People falling over the wall or stepping over the wall into a moat, have at it. Alligators rolling on them. And then again, there's the shooting them back over the wall, launching them back over the wall, right? you can do that as well. Landing them into a soft bed of tacos. Nobody wants to do that because nobody wants to be responsible for somebody breaking their arm or back, coming across the wall, and miscalculating the bin of tacos they're going to land in. Because they're going to overshoot, miss, and then they're going to sue us and they're going to stay here anyway. Anyway, Biden has called on Congress to pass new laws he claims will let him solve the border crisis, which is bullshit. He is the commander-in-chief. He doesn't want to solve this problem. Why doesn't he want to solve this problem? Because either A, it's slipping his mind on a daily basis, or B, the elites who control him are telling him what to do and not to do. He endorsed a bipartisan deal in Senate that includes an emergency border authority to mandate Title 42 style exclusion of migrants whose migration level exceeds 5,000 a day over a 7-day rolling average. So it has to exceed 5,000 migrants a day, and the rest of those people will get caught and sent back, which I don't know. It would also limit the window of people applying for asylum here, provided immediate work permits for asylum seekers and funds a massive increase in staffing at the border and more immigration judges. I don't know why I read it that way. But conservatives tanked the deal in the Senate after House Republicans declared it a non-starter. And it probably was. So, guys, this is going to be a problem for the foreseeable future. Even when Trump gets into office, it's not going to go into effect immediately. A lot of people seem to think as soon as he gets in there, that all is going to be better the moment he walks in. Yes, is he going to pass some sweeping changes day one? Absolutely. But it still takes weeks, if not months, in some cases maybe years, for changes to actually take place and for changes to be noticeable. So even when he gets in the office, guys, it's not going to automatically go back to normal or even close to normal. It's going to take a little bit. So now switching gears, and I don't know why this is becoming a problem for kids. I think last year 2 kids died this way. And I don't understand why parents who are watching their kids dig a hole that is up to their necks is a good idea. Why? Oh, look at my son. He's digging a hole to China. Anyway, young girl dies after a sand hole she was digging collapsed with a little boy inside. This is Florida Beach. There's videos of rescuers trying to save both the girl and the boy. Distressing footage captured desperate beachgoers using their hands to rescue a young girl who was trapped in the sand hole on a Florida beach before she died Tuesday. That was yesterday. The girl, believed to be around 5 or 7 years old, had dug a 5-foot to 6-foot hole at a beach in Fort Lauderdale by the sea. In Fort Lauderdale. I didn't even know that place existed. The weight of the sand completely buried the girl, while the boy was buried up to his chest. He was able to get out. Video obtained by CBS Miami showed first responders and Good Samaritan digging sand from the hole as they tried to rescue the trapped girl. Firefighters seen using shovels and boards to clear the way from the hole as they try to reach the girl during a time-sensitive issue. Clearly, guys, she wasn't able to be reached. She wound up dying because of all that sand that was collapsed around her. Sorry. King shared that the girl had stopped breathing by the time the rescues reached her. Paramedics attempt to revive her while rushing her to the hospital. She went to Broadwood Health Medical Center. The girl was pronounced dead upon arrival. King confirmed the outlet. Now, again, the parents are there. They're watching their kid disappear as they dig. If she is 5 or 7 years old, after the chest disappears, all right, after her chest disappears and you only see her head, now it's time to stop. But a kid died like that last year, and I could have sworn a year before, Another kid died digging a deep hole. The hole collapsed in on them, and that was it. Too many kids are dying this way, and that's because parents are not paying attention. Anyway, moving right along. We got two things to talk about. These next two are important, I would say, because the first one I'm going to talk about is, again, another propaganda. Listen, we are inundated with propaganda from all angles. From every subject on this planet, there's propaganda behind it. This propaganda bullshit is about breast milk and how trans women's breast milk is just as good as regular breast milk. I don't know how that's possible, considering these people are shooting themselves up with multiple drugs, including the psych medications they have to take. So keep in mind that all of this drugs is flowing through their body. And now they're trying to say, the British health officials are saying that trans women's breast milk is good as regular breast milk. There is nothing as good as regular breast milk. In fact, when women take certain jobs, like firefighting, for example, they are advised not to breastfeed because of the poisons that the mother takes in from the job. Whether she's at a fire, just hanging around the rig on a daily basis, exposed to all of this nasty shit, they're advised not to breastfeed. And that's just environmental shit. Now you got these psych patients who are pretending to be women, who are pretending to be mothers, are breastfeeding their kids because they are taking drugs that can induce breast milk in men. The amount of drugs you have to take for that to happen, and it doesn't happen for every trans woman. It happens few far in between. But yet these psychological damaged doctors seem to think that the breast milk is just as good. And if the trans woman or the fake woman is sitting there taking all of these medications to become a woman and then has to take more medications to breastfeed, what is that going to do to the kid? That's the question nobody wants to answer. If a woman takes certain medications, just normal medications, she is told not to breastfeed. Somehow, a trans woman's breast milk is just as good with all of those drugs flowing through her body. Anyway, yeah, you can call it Frankenstein milk, fake milk, venomous milk, poison milk, whatever milk you want to call it, it is not good. Now, a lot of these psych patients, and I call them psych patients, guys, because only a sicko would think that they can breastfeed their child. Right? Bad enough, they think they gave birth to the fucking child. These fucking psych patients think that they can breastfeed, when all they have to do is go, you know what? I can't breastfeed. Let me feed my kid goat milk or whatever milk is out there for the kids to eat. There are millions of women who can't breastfeed, and then there are millions of women who don't want to breastfeed. They go get formula. So if a woman can't breastfeed and she goes, I can't, my kid's not latching on properly, I can't breastfeed because I'm not producing enough, they go by way of formula. The trans breast milk bullshit, they do not produce enough to feed a kid. They don't. And these psychologically damaged idiots think that it's still good as long as they get something. They are poisoning their kids, and this is called child abuse. And Brian goes, it's called chest feeding. Well, for them, they call it breastfeeding because they grow breast because of all the toxic shit they're taking. Anyway, let me try to get through this article without wanting to punch my fucking computer. Trans women's breast milk as good as breast milk, British health officials say. Breast milk produced by men who transition to women is as good as for babies as milk from genetic females, according to British health officials. The Brits they seriously gotta go. They gotta go. Sparking outrage from critics questioning the science. Here we go. A leaked letter from the University of Sussex Hospital Hospital NHS Trust contended that breast milk produced by transgender women after taking a combination of drugs and hormones is comparable to that produced by a mother following the birth of a baby. Staff further clarified that the term human milk is meant to be neutral and not and is not gender based or based. Said the missive sent the critics who filed a formal complaint against the Progressive Hospital Group. How? Oh my God. My neck hurts. My neck is starting to hurt. The hospital, which claims it was the first to use gender-inclusive term chest feeding, explains that transgender women who develop lactation partly by taking the hormone progestin, which helps develop a biological male already existent but typically dormant breast milk producing glands. Now we have breast milk producing glands. All of a sudden men have fucking breast milk producing glands. This fucking hospital. This is why Brits should storm the hospital, take the doctors out, and beat them. Because stupid ideology like this is catching on, and they are enforcing this bad behavior with trans people. These people seem to think that they can take hormones and drugs and their milk is just going to be just as good. There is no way. There are doctors who are actually against this because doctors are like, there's no possible way. Listen, you could take different arm tickets, and in the period that you're taking these different arm tickets or different medication, doctors are going to tell you, do not breastfeed your kid. But somehow, taking hormones and drugs and the combination of the two, it's okay to breastfeed your kid. This hospital, it hasn't done the long research of the damage it will cause. Not that it might, the damage it will cause the kids. Undoubtedly. There are kids, guys, who are going to have developmental delays because of this. There are kids that are going to stop. Their hormones are not going to come in play. In fact, some of them are probably going to grow up to be little girls because their hormone is going to be suppressed, delayed, or completely stopped. Chest fucking feeding. God. Drugs such as Dopiridone, which is often given to biological women struggling to breastfeed, then help stimulate the production of prolactin, a separate hormone that tells the body to produce milk. While both of these are given to men, this is what's helping them produce. And again, even with both of these being available to men trying to breastfeed their kids, because they're fucking morons, they still don't produce milk a lot of the times, which this article doesn't go into. Dopiridone, also known by the brand name Motilamon. Oh God, I can't pronounce these. Was not intended for this use. Said the USH said the practice is safe, even though the medication could be transferred to the body through breastfeeding and has a potential to affect the baby's heart. Now this is Motilam, sorry. So that's Motilam. That's the breastfeeding hormone that's intended for women. They said that this shouldn't be given to babies because it can affect the baby's heart. Motilam says only small amounts of the medication may be detected in breast milk, although it adds that the medication should be used during breastfeeding only if your physician considers it clearly necessary. Ladies, if you're having a fucking problem feeding your kid and you have to take drugs to produce this milk, do not have your kids take it. Now, again, this Motilam can cause heart issue in kids, and these morons are still breastfeeding. Godspeed to the kid. This is called child abuse. If you know that it's going to harm your kid, but you're willing to do it anyway, People should start going to jail, including the doctors that sign off on this. Anyway, but Lottie Moore, this is a person, of Think Tank Policy Exchange sent a missive to the Telegram bashing the hospital's guidance, calling it unbalanced and naive. The letter is unbalanced and naive, and in its assertion that the secretion produced by a male on hormones can nourish an infant in way of a mother breast milk, saying that it can't. A child's welfare must always take precedence over identity politics and contest belief systems that are not evidence-based. The NHS should not be indulging in this nonsense. Dr. Jane Orient, Executive Director of the Conservative Association of American Physicians and Surgeons, added to the post on Monday that there is question about how much testing have been done to make such a determination, which is very little testing. Plus, they didn't do long-term testing, obviously, because this stuff is fairly new for men and even women. I think it's pretty reckless to try and experiment on these babies. Have they really analyzed the effects this has on milk? Have they analyzed the effects this has on a baby? No. Adding she wouldn't know what kind of effects might be experimented by the person who's taking the hormone. That's also another question. The hospital group, which is known, also boasts that it created Britain's first clinical and language guidelines supporting trans and non-binary birthing people, was this shit needs to fucking forget it. Was the subject of a complaint last year when the Children of Transitioners, an organization that advocates children whose parents have transitioned genders. Responding to the complaint, the hospital letter referred to the World Health Organization guidance and overwhelming evidence that human milk is overall better for babies than formula. What the fuck? It referenced a 2022 study that found that milk testosterone concentration were under 1% with no observable side effects in the babies. Any amount of adverse hormones is bad. Whether it's 1%, less than 1%, it's bad because it accumulates over time. If a baby is sucking on titties for fucking 6 months to a year, or longer in some cases, which is weird, the accumulative effect, that is what they're not questioning, that is what they're not considering. Everything we do, guys, everything we eat has an accumulative effect. Yes, it doesn't always affect you right away, but it does affect you down the line. And the morons of the world, thank you, Overwatch, the morons of the world seem to think that this is okay. The cumulative effect is what none of these psych patients entertain, because they look at the now. They look at the now and they go, well, it's not affecting my baby. Look, he's walking. Meanwhile, 15 years from now, 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, they're going to look at it and go, well, shit, my kid's having problems learning in school. My kid keeps licking the wall. My kid is very quiet, doesn't speak. He's shy, or does he have developmental issues? The doctor will tell him, your son has developmental issues. The trans idiot will go, maybe it's the food we're eating. Meanwhile, they're going to completely omit the fact that they gave their kid all of these hormones that built up into the bloodstream over a long period of time. Anyway, the stupidity of the world, guys, it's just alarming. And it's alarming that people are getting stupider. I'm getting to a point where I'm convinced, guys, there's only one way to deal with stupid people. Unfortunately, we are headed in that direction because these people are harming kids now. They're no longer harming themselves. When trans people came out and said, it's my body, I do what I want to do, so be it. But now you're harming kids. You're harming the future of kids. You're harming the DNA and the developmental learning of kids. Something needs to be done with these people because they want to avoid that simple fact. Anyway, moving right along. This one is a more important one. I want to do a video on this probably later in the week. Non-citizen Chinese immigrant sworn in on San Francisco's election committee. A Chinese immigrant has been sworn in to serve on San Francisco's election committee despite her lack of U.S. citizenship, raising national security concerns as one of U.S. citizens warns that Chinese President Xi Jinping is playing the long game. Not only is he playing the long game, but obviously, guys, San Francisco politicians are in on this. Because there's no way that a Chinese citizen who's a non-citizen here is in charge, or who's in charge of the election commission. She is running the show in San Francisco, and this only means, guys, that this is the beginning. They wiggled their way into a position in San Francisco. That means they're going to wiggle their way into the position in California, which then starts to turn into an infection. That's why we need California to shift its way off into the Pacific Ocean. Kelly Wong, an immigration rights activist who came to the United States in 2019 from Hong Kong, who's a Chinese spy from Hong Kong for graduate study, has unanimously appointed by San Francisco's Board of Supervisors to the city's election committee February 14th, a couple days ago. She is believed to be the first non-citizen ever to sit on the commission, after California voter approved a measure in 2020 to eliminate citizenship requirement to sit on San Francisco's board. They eliminated requirement. Now keep in mind, guys, every last person involved in this is on the take. They're getting some kind of kickback. There is no way that these people let a non-citizen be in charge of their electoral committee. There's no way. The only way you can do that is if you are on the take. There are always voices inside my head like, you can't do it, you're not competent, you're an immigrant, and it is not your country. This is Wong saying this to KQED following her historic appointment last week. If I can do it, you can do it, she said. What an idiot. Anyway, guys, this is going to create a giant problem. That's all this is going to do. This is the Chinese sneaking their way in, and of course using Hong Kong as the cover. Because if she comes from Hong Kong, the idiots that sit on the commission board with her are going, well, she's from Hong Kong, she's not from China. Like a lot of people know, the Chinese and the Russians are playing the long game. And everybody else are too stupid to see the long game. So they think that she's innocent and she's docile and it's okay. That is not the case. Anyway, guys, enough of this bullshit. This is only going to get worse. I'm going to do a video on this down the line. Not down the line. This week, I'm going to do a video on this. But this is how they infect the United States. This is how they Trojan horse the United States, guys. They have countless military-aged men coming across the border. Now they have somebody on the inside of an election committee in San Francisco. That position is only going to grow. More and more people from China are going to get into positions like that around the United States. Anyway, guys, I got to go. I will see you guys tomorrow night as well. And we will talk more about this in my future videos. Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit.